Plowing, um, plowing at night through rough, foggy seas. What's shown in this video is a battleship. A battleship's radar suddenly indicates that an object is directly in its path, and the ship's captain sends a radio signal. We're on a collision course. Advise you to change course 10 degrees north. And a response crackles back over the radio. Negative. We advise you to change your course 10 degrees south. The captain can now see a blinking light from the approaching object. Upset, he yells a reply. I'm a ship's captain. Change your course 10 degrees north now. I'm a seaman, second class, comes the reply. Advise that you change course 10 degrees south to avoid imminent collision. And the captain at this point is furious, and he blurts out another command. This is a battleship. Change your course immediately. And back comes a calm reply. This is a lighthouse. And the battleship changed its course. You can go to the next slide here, Jonathan. What I would like to suggest in our perspective today is that sleep is a lighthouse. I've become convinced and remembered this a bit, that getting high quality sleep is the best protector and enhancer of health and cognition, but it's also the most underappreciated. If you think about what we do as salespeople and business owners, a lot of our success depends on our mental acuity, our attitude. And again, the number one thing that you can do for that is sleep. You can go to the next slide here, Jonathan. I started tracking my sleep quality and things that impacted my sleep back in 2015. That's when I tried to get a prescription also for modafinil from my doctor. Speaking of Limitless, the movie and the convention. And he wanted me to take a sleep test. And I was like, I don't have sleep apnea. Well, I had sleep apnea. So I started tracking my sleep back in 2015 using the Sleep Cycle app. And you can go to the next slide. So this is some of the data from 2015 and 2016. This is 236 nights of sleep. I tested different variables on my sleep quality. So I made a list in the app, and then every night before I went to sleep, I would check off things that I did or didn't do. So you can see that, working out during that day improved my sleep quality by 3%. Wearing that CPAP machine for sleep apnea was 2%. Interestingly, putting my phone in airplane mode increased my sleep as well. You can guess what the heart is. You can go to the next one there, Jonathan. Things that decreased my sleep quality. Interestingly, I read all this stuff about GABA, so I started taking GABA on some nights, and I tracked it in the app when I took it. And that actually, for me, decreased my sleep quality more than anything else, more than even a stressful day. Eating late in the day also hurt my sleep quality. You can go to the next one, Jonathan. Even the weather impacted my sleep quality. So nowadays, I don't use the Sleep Cycle app. I use what Jonathan also has, which is this little ring that I wear on my finger called an Aura. And there's a ton of good data in here, and I'll circle back to that in a second here, but I want to say a few things that have helped me and that you may want to consider for yourself in thinking about your sleep. The first one is just the idea is that sleep is a lighthouse. It cannot be negotiated away, wished aside, or overrun. For every sleep inaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And the third thing is, this idea of creating a family or a house culture of sleep. And start with yourself and be what you want others to become. So, my wife and I these last couple of weeks have been talking about, we have teenage kids that like to do the dishes at midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning when others of us in the house are asleep, and that could impact our sleep quality. So we've been having conversations about this with ourselves and with the kids. You can go to the next slide, Jonathan. So this is Jonathan showed the Oura Ring website. This is just some sleep data. I did a presentation on this last week as well in my BNI group as the education moment. So you can see on the slide on the left-hand side, you can see I got 7 hours and 28 minutes of sleep. And you can see the different stages of my sleep over the course of the night. I had 1 hour and 16 minutes of deep sleep and 1 hour, 49 minutes of REM sleep. My score for that night was 93. That's kind of the highest that I've been getting over the last few months when I've really been putting more attention and focus on this. So 90 to 93 is a good score for me. And that's what it shows in the middle as well. On the far right-hand side, you can see the different, stuff that us sleep nerds look at sometimes first thing when we wake up in the morning. Go to the next slide. I just want to share some of the things that I've picked up from, not just the Oura app, but also, folks like Andrew Huberman with his podcast and Brian Johnson and others that I follow. One of the most important things, go ahead, Jonathan.
Sorry, real quick, Tom, just to point out too, guys, this ring actually tracks your resting heart rate. It even tracks your temperature. And so like Tom said, eating late, that gives you a higher heart rate, or if you drink late, that elevated heart rate. And so if you're maintaining a 49 or 50, 51 resting heart rate, so these tracking devices like Oura are just super powerful to get to know your habits.
Yeah, my wife gets super annoyed because she doesn't have an Oura ring, and I'll ask her in the morning, and she forgets every morning, but I'll ask her in the morning, so how'd you sleep last night? She's like, yeah, pretty good. And I'm like, how do you know? You didn't track it. It's like asking a salesperson, how was your week? Oh, it's pretty good. What are your KPIs? I don't know. So the biggest thing that you can do to improve your sleep is to make sleep a non-negotiable in your schedule. So it's actually in my calendar of when I go to sleep every night. So same bedtime and wake up. And the second thing is that I do is when I wake up, I've started going outside for 5 to 15 minutes, or to turn on, you could also turn on a special day lamp inside that sets your circadian rhythm for the day. And I have found, and I've looked at studies that show that exercising in the morning rather than the evening is better for your sleep. We talked about the Oura ring that tracks all these pretty cool stuff that you can look at. I've got some of the stuff I use here. Blacking out your windows in the room is super helpful for light. And if you can't black out the windows in your bedroom, which I can't do, then the next best thing is like a sleep mask that you can wear. Otherwise, no matter what time of year it is, when the sun comes up outside, I just wake up, and I'm trying to sleep to a certain time to make sure that I'm getting enough sleep. Sound control is also important in your room, but no caffeine after 2 p.m. That's why I'm drinking some green tea right here. And one of the things that I've started doing, I moved it up. Last week, I was stopping eating and drinking at 4 p.m. This week, I've moved it up to 2 p.m. I actually started at 8, and I've been moving it back to look at my resting heart rate and my heart rate variability through the night. So as I've been stopping eating earlier in the day, my heart rate variability has been going up at night, which is a good thing for health, for longevity, and for restfulness. And then no alcohol or other stimulants. You can go to the next slide here, John. So other things that I've done is stopping working at 8 p.m. It doesn't have to be 8 p.m. for you. That's just based on my schedule. I blight like this is blue light glasses. So John has some of these as well. Oftentimes I will put this on at night if I'm around bright lights or looking at a screen after 8 o'clock. I've been experimenting with microdosing melatonin, so 300 micrograms, 200 or 2 hours before bed, and then having a 1 hour wind down in the evening where I'm not looking at, my email, my computer, my phone, and I'm trying to spend that with the family after work, but before going to bed. This is a new one also. So this is a Pulsetto device, which has been clinically shown to reduce anxiety and improve sleep. And it actually shocks you. You wear it around your neck for 4 to 10 minutes, depending on what you're trying to do. And you actually put conductive gel underneath it, and it has an app that runs through different programs. So I've been testing that out for the last week as well. Setting the room temperature to 68 degrees, which is a little bit warmer than what's recommended in most studies. That's a compromise because my wife likes it a little bit warmer. And then for me to be in bed between 10:15 and 10:30. I've also started using the Sleep Space app for sound. So it's partly is for sound control. It plays sound all night long. And then it connects with your Apple Watch and or Oura Ring to see what stage of sleep you're in, and it changes the sound that it's playing based on what stage of sleep that you're in to keep you asleep for longer and in the right stages of sleep. I've also put an air filter in the bedroom that's not for sound, but just for air quality while we're sleeping. Another thing that I'll throw out there is 8sleep.com has a mattress topper or a mattress that also tracks your sleep quality. And if you've got someone that you sleep with, it can control temperature not only on your side of the bed, but also their side of the bed. And it looks at your stage of sleep and it adjusts the mattress according to what stage of sleep you're in. So that's another tool. So that's some of the stuff that I've learned about sleep quality. And again, if you think about what we do, sleep can be the difference between a day filled with hope and a day filled with despair. So consider giving some attention to the quality of sleep that you are having, and consider thinking about different devices that measure your sleep quality. We mentioned the Oura Ring. Also, 8sleep is a mattress topper or a mattress that you can get. That's a bit more expensive. It's, I think $2,000 or $3,000 for that. But Whoop also has like a wristband that you can wear that tracks sleep and activity and exercise as well. That's pretty cool. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And maybe this is stuff that you've never even really thought about before. But there is a difference between people who go through life and just let things kind of fall where they may, and a difference between people who perform at a higher level where they pay attention to their body and their mental state and things like sleep. So hopefully this is helpful for you. Back to you, John.
Awesome stuff, Tom. And a lot of people are agreeing in the chat here. They're also putting in some of their own tips and things that they've done as well. And yeah, some of you may be listening to this like, oh, this is kind of weird or this is kind of out of touch. And honestly, when I was introduced to some of these modalities and techniques and flow states 2 years ago, it was foreign and out of touch. And slowly, like Tom, maybe not as geeky, but I've incorporated many of these things as well. And it's honestly, we spend the largest majority of our life in bed. So why not study it and why not make the most out of it? All the mundane activities we do. I'd like to share one or two things as well on this topic of sleep. And many of you are putting what you like to do in the chat. Please do. So breath work is also one of those modalities that we like to do. And I'll encourage you all, challenge today, do this 8-minute invigorating breath work, or do it when you wake up, or do it when you're anxious, or you're you're going to go between work and then seeing your spouse, and you need that shift of energy. And this is one of the best 8 minutes I've ever came across. So I challenge you all to do that today. And let me see.
I'll say one more thing, Jonathan. We live in super interesting times right now. And one of the conversations that a lot of people are having is around AI. And consider that as we develop AI and AI develops itself, what that could look like in the future, we don't know, because it's not under our control necessarily. But in the work that we do every day with solar, we are trying to make the world a better place by changing homeowners' source of energy. So things like improving your sleep have benefits of you being potentially more in tune with yourself and the place that you are, your life, your relationships, potentially has the ability to help you to be a better version of yourself. And as we head into a future with AI, that could get along better with the AI that will exist in the future. So maybe just starting with your sleep could help you to head down a certain path that will help you be more you, which then in the future, as AI arrives more fully, could get along better together. So that's one idea. The other one is the future is pretty incredible, and I want to be around for that future. Not just in 80 years, but 90, 100 plus potential years. We will have the ability to replace every human organ in the body. We almost have that ability right now, except the mind. And so think about how sleep is so important for your mind, especially with the idea that, or the understanding that all these other organs can be replaced in our body. So we're headed into this amazing future. You want to be around for it, and sleep is another key component of longevity for us.
Or we could just be robots. I'm just kidding. Solarmasterguide.com has a health tab. So if you want to explore some more breath works here, my brother put together a document of some of our favorite breath works and giving business soul. So there's a health tab in solarmasterguide.com. A few other things. Someone said in the chat that they replaced some of their light bulbs with red bulbs. So at night, I put on red light bulbs in my bedroom. And I even have these crazy salt lamps. I have ones way bigger than this, actually. So I have a few of these that I just leave on because I have solar. Why not? And that will light the home in the evening. So eliminating some of that light, eliminating the screens, getting that air filter here. I went with the #1 on Amazon. In the bedroom, maybe if you're in a dry area, a humidifier even, you could tinker around with that. And I love this guy on Instagram. I'm going to put him into the chat for y'all. It's a must follow if you're on Instagram. He's amazing. He talks about sleep stacks and different things you could take, and just how sunlight, circadian rhythms, exercise in the morning, not drinking 2-3 hours before bed, not eating 2-3 hours before bed, and all these just basics, weight training, stretch, walking, sunlight. That's all we need. That's all we need to feel great. And even with our breath work. And then here's the Oura Ring. I'll go ahead and put this in the chat. It is a discount code. I don't know if I get a spiff or not, full disclosure, but it is a discount code. I think Tom has one as well. And they are an investment. It's the gold one's $409, the silver one might be $350, but a lot of us wear them, and they're waterproof, and they have temperature, heart rate, oxygen sensors. They interface with an app. And I think we actually can make a community, Tom. We can make a community now with Oura Ring, so we can all kind of be in this community and all track each other's sleep here. So check that out. But yeah, amazing topic on sleep. Thank you, Tom, for sharing that. And I hope that helped a lot of people here and just continue to tinker with these different tools and flow states. Because if you want to perform at your best, you want a better relationship, better life, better exercise, better diet, these things are more important than ever, especially for top performers, CEOs, and all the leaders in power.